Welcome to the Sat-Coord Beam Service Area Editing tutorial. In this tutorial I will show you how you can use Sat-Coord to create new custom service area diagrams from scratch, how you can edit existing GIMS service area diagrams, and how you can then export these diagrams into GIMS format files or databases. In order to view GIMS beam data inside Sat-Coord, you need to have the ITU GIMS software installed and functional on your machine. You can find out more information and download GIMS by visiting the relevant ITU website. A link is provided in the description below this video. The GIMS database is contained on the IFIC DVD and must be set up and operating within the ITU GIMS software before you can use Sat-Coord to view this data. So first I will click on the Tools menu item and then select Beam Plotter from the drop-down menu to open a new empty Beam Plotter tab. From here I will create a new dataset by clicking on the Add Dataset icon in the toolbar. Then I will add a new network by clicking on the Add Network icon in the toolbar. This will prompt us with a dialog asking for some information on the network we wish to add. I will specify the administration as the UK, change the network name to TestSat, and specify an orbital position of 60 degrees east and then click on OK. As soon as the network is added, you can see that the projection of the Earth centered on the orbital position of 60 degrees east. Next I will add a new beam by clicking on the Add Beam icon in the toolbar. I will leave the beam as a downlink beam but change the name to Test. Now the new beam is added to the data tree. Next I will add a new service area diagram into the newly constructed beam by clicking on the Add Service Area Diagram icon in the toolbar. This will prompt us for a service area name and service area number. I will leave these as the default values and click on OK. A beam can have as many service areas as you wish, but you need to ensure that each service area has a different number. So now we have a new empty service area diagram. In Sat-Coord, service area diagrams can be one of four types, which can be selected through clicking on the Service Area Diagram Type button on the toolbar. They can be of type custom data, which means they are a custom Sat-Coord type, which allows us full control over the service area diagram and is what we will be using in this tutorial. Secondly, they can be of type GIMS data, which means that they reference a diagram in a GIMS database. If you import beam data from an SNS database, service area diagrams are set to this type by default and are retrieved from the GIMS reference database. Thirdly, they can be set to no data, which is the default state for newly added service area diagrams such as this one. Lastly, they can be set to simple data, which is a simple global service area. For this service area editing tutorial, we will set our new service area diagram to custom data type. As soon as we choose the type custom data, you can see that the beam plot on the right hand side is now showing us an empty service area diagram with a blue outline showing us the visible Earth from this orbital location. Service area diagrams are made up of service regions and excluded regions. To generate a new service area diagram, we need to have at least one service region. To add a service region, select the Add Service Region button on the toolbar. Sat-Coord allows us to add a service region by elevation, by country code, by ITU region, or by capturing on the map. I'm going to select ITU region and add a service region in ITU region 1. If you wish to add additional service regions, you can do so using the same methodology. To add an excluded region, select the Add Excluded Region button on the toolbar. Sat-Coord will then prompt you for the country code of the region you wish to exclude. For this example I will choose Saudi Arabia, the country code IRS. In the beam plot on the right hand side you can see the service area with the included regions coloured in orange and the excluded regions coloured in black. Next I want to show you how you can modify existing GIMS service area diagrams. To do this, I'm going to import some data into our Beam Plotter tab from an SNS database. To do this, I will click on the Browse menu item and then open the SOS database. I will start filtering the SOS data to just the information I wish to send to the Beam Plotter by performing the Notice Admin search and then the Notice Satellite Name search. I will then send information from a particular network to our Beam Plotter tab. As you can see, this data has been put into a new dataset in the left-hand pane of the Beam Plotter tab. If I first select the network I wish to view the beams in, this will change the view of the beam plot to the orbital location of this network. I can then select one of the service area diagrams which has been imported. If I click on the Service Area Diagram Type button on the toolbar, you can see that it is specified as a GIMS data type. If I select the GIMS settings option, it will open up a dialog giving me information on the GIMS database and the beam data it has selected from the GIMS database. It is possible to point this to a different beam in either this GIMS database or an alternate GIMS database if we wish. In this tutorial I want to show you how you can edit data from an existing GIMS beam. To do this, I select the Import Data to Custom Diagram button in the toolbar. This will import the current GIMS data into custom data format and automatically change the type of the service area to custom data. Now that the data is in custom data format, we have all of the options available to us to edit the service area diagram. For example, I can select a contour and move points around, add points, or remove points. If you are constructing service area diagram data for a new filing, when this is submitted to the ITU, it will need to be submitted in GIMS format and so must be converted into GIMS data. Let us go back to our generated contour and convert this into GIMS format. To do this, there are two options in Sat-Coord. First, you can export an individual diagram into GXT format. These GXT files can then be read by GIMS, so can be imported into GIMS and saved into a new GIMS database. Alternatively, you can, at the network or beam level, import all diagrams you have made into a new GIMS database. To do this, select the new beam that we made and then choose the Export to GIMS DB button on the toolbar. It prompts us for a database location and name for the new GIMS database. Once that is specified, Sat-Coord will start the export process and open up a new dialog providing information on the export process. It is possible that the custom service area data that you generated could not be exported to GIMS format if there is some validation issue with the service area. For these cases, you will need to export a GXT file first and then import that into GIMS to understand what the validation problem with the service area is. For our case, the beam has exported successfully into a new GIMS database. If you need to export a diagram to GXT format, you can do this by selecting the service area you wish to export and then pressing the Export GXT button on the toolbar. Thank you for watching. This ends the beam service area editing tutorial. If you have any questions, please contact us using the information in the description below.